based on the premises that they were excluded, though they were part of the evidence. They were not part of the evidence, Mr. Speaker, sir. These are new documents that have never been part of this case. The nearest you could say is that they were referred to or they were alluded to in the charges, but they have never been part of the evidence. Mr. Speaker, sir, we filed a notice of intention to raise a preliminary objection, and the same was part of the filings we did within the timeline you gave us. The nature of our preliminary objection, Mr. Speaker, sir, is to contend that there was no voting that took place, and therefore it implicates the requirement, number one, that voting must have been done at the assembly, and number two, that a 2/3 threshold should have been achieved. It is our contention that the approach adopted by the Speaker in the County Assembly, the documents filed, including the audit of the logs of the process, will show that indeed there was no voting system. Mr. Speaker, sir, I pray that you allow us to raise that preliminary objection to the effect that indeed no voting took place and that 2/3 was not achieved, and therefore your jurisdiction has not been triggered as a Senate.
So, Counsel for Governor, you have 15 minutes to raise your appeal. Counsel for the County Assembly, you'll have 15 minutes to respond, and thereafter the Senate will make a determination on the matter.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the issues we raise in our preliminary objection are that we will start, first of all, Mr. Speaker, sir, we will invite your attention to the contents of an Annex 4A from the Assembly, which provides an audit of the login processes and details of how the voting went on. And Mr. Speaker, sir, that is contained in the affidavit by the IT expert at page 79 to 85, and also in the affidavit sworn by the clerk, page 95 to 93. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the IT expert says particularly at paragraph it is volume 2.
What is your issue, Senator for Nairobi?
Volume 2 of the County
Counsel
Assembly.
for Governor, just hold and pause the time for the Governor, please. Yes, Senator Sifuna.
No, Speaker, we've been through this process many times, and these are experienced lawyers. Part of the thing they should do before they start is to introduce to the Senate their documents. You can't just refer to documents, and we have volumes upon volumes here. I would expect that Counsel for the Governor start by telling us what his documents look like, and then we can be able to go together. Other than that, you're just speaking to yourself. With respect, Counsel.
Counsel for Governor, kindly be guided accordingly.
My apologies, honorable senators. I'm referring to volume 2 of the County Assembly bundle, and I will be juxtaposing that with bundle Annex 4A, also from the County Assembly bundle. Mr. Speaker, sir, our preliminary objection, the first point I wish to address is what has been referred to by the IT expert, and that testimony, his affidavit is at page 79 to page 89. And at particularly page 81, paragraph 10, 11, and 12, he indicates that they have been using certain software for purposes of payments, budgeting, meetings, and so on and so forth. Then he says in October 2024, an enactment was made of Standing Order number 77, and attendant to the enactment of that section, they then developed a system for voting by upgrading what they already had for purposes of implementation of that standing order. Then he proceeds at paragraph 23, 30, and 31 to say that system is accurate, verifiable, secure, user-specific, and friendly. And Mr. Speaker, sir, that's where our preliminary objection lies. We would like to say, first of all, if it were a specific, if it was tailored to meet the intention of that standing order number 70. The standing order number 70, standing order number 77A requires that in the event an MCA chooses not to vote, then it must be deemed to have abstained. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we look at volume 1 of the Governor's bundle at page 98 to 101, if we could look at that. The Governor's bundle, page 98 to 101 to 106. It is the bundle is pink in color. It will be noted that if indeed it was tailored to meet the intentions of Standing Order number 77, then it should also have complied with the detail of 77.8, which says that any MCA who has not voted should be reflected as having abstained. You will notice at page 98 that the votes reflected in that report says 33 voted and there was 0 abstain. However, when you juxtapose that, if we could go again to the volume 2 of the Assembly's bundle, you will find an affidavit by the clerk of the county assembly at page 90 to 93, and particularly at page 90, at paragraph 17 at page 93, the clerk is very specific that there were 47 MCAs in the assembly on that date. Now, our case is that the 18 MCAs did not vote at all, and we have produced those affidavits. And those affidavits of the 18 MCAs I will provide in a minute. But let me just make this first point I was making, being that if the system that they say was tailored to meet the intention of Standing Order number 77, then 77.8 requiring that it should reflect abstention, then should have reflected 18 MCAs abstained, or in the alternative, if it were to be the case which we contest, if it were to be the case that 33 voted, then it should have reflected that 14 of them abstained. And so that's our first attack on that pretense that there was any voting that happened. It is our contention that just a piece of paper was prepared. The second argument we make is that 18 MCAs did not vote, and the maximum number of votes that system should have reflected should have been 29 votes. And the affidavits that we have produced for purposes of supporting that proposition, Mr. Speaker, sir, are at page 117 to 120 of the Governor's bundle. That is an MCA called Kigen. Then there is an MCA called Kibet Bozuben at page 121 to 122. Then there is Amos at page 125 to 127. Then there is Edna and Martin at page 128 to 131. Then there is an MCA whose nickname is Broker at page 132 to 134. Then there is an MCA called Gabriela at page 135 to 1. I was just struggling with the 15 minutes I was given, honorable senators. Then there is an affidavit sworn by one Gabriela, Honorable Gabriela at page 135 to 137, and an affidavit sworn by all the 18 jointly at page 113 to 116. In the same set of the documents, we have shown how they have already reported to the DCI for purposes of investigation of the impersonation of their votes. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I indicate that all the 18 MCAs are our witnesses, and we intend to call all of them, probably 17 or the 18. And Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable senators, it is our contention that indeed, to the extent to which 18 of them did not vote, the representation that 33 MCAs voted is inaccurate. It should have been only 29 MCAs. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have identified particularly 4 MCAs whose signatures, whose votes were fraudulently captured as having voted in favor of the impeachment. They have said they did not vote, and to the extent to which the report on the voting at page 98 to 106 in bundle 1 of the governor's report purports that the 4 of them voted is a forgery, Mr. Speaker, sir. The other issue which I want my learned friend to highlight is that it will be noted that there are individuals, based on the login audit that the County Assembly has produced, that there were 3 MCAs who voted twice. That is Honorable Rogoñ Kiprotich, who is the mover of the motion. He voted twice. Not only is it reflected in the audit report, he also is on audio as telling one of the people he voted for that, please, let me give you some money in exchange to you indicating my having voted for you. The other one is Honorable Moses Rotich, who voted twice, and Honorable Beatrice Chepkoech. The other issue we wish to advance, Mr. Speaker, sir, and Honorable Senators, is the standing order enacted by the County Assembly itself, standing order number 77-4, which requires that when you implement the use of electronic voting, then the MCAs will be allowed, and I want to put emphasis on these two. One is to press, not only to press, but to press a button. And Mr. Speaker, it should be a common ground between ourselves and my learned colleagues for the County Assembly that indeed there was no gadget which could be pressed and there was no button to be pressed. What they did is to send a link to the mobile phones and ask them to enter the link and do the voting. And we are saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, to the extent to which the standing order requires that you press a button, there was no device which could satisfy the requirement for electronic voting at that point in time, Mr. Speaker, sir. 4 minutes. Okay. Mr. Speaker, sir, we would also like to point out that the entry credentials, the affidavit sworn by the IT expert multiple times at page 79 to 83, to 85, is that there was a unique criteria to enter the portal. However, it will be noted, Mr. Speaker, sir, as my learned friend will demonstrate, that the identifiers were merely the payroll number and the ID number. And so anybody who knows the payroll number and the ID number could enter and vote. And indeed, as far as we are concerned, that's what happened. And that's why we are saying that this voting system is not accurate, verifiable, nor auditable. Mr. Speaker, sir, lastly, as I hand over to my learned friend, Mr. Wanyama, is to point out, Mr. Speaker, sir, that immediately after the voting, the site was pulled down. We are meant to understand that in response to our having filed our objection, an attempt was made to set up the same link yesterday. But between the time of voting on 15th of August and yesterday and Monday, the site had been down. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, we contend that indeed this voting system does not satisfy the requirement that indeed a voting should have happened and that voting should have achieved 2/3 of the MCAs to warrant you having to entertain and determine this preliminary objection. We pray that you decline to accept this motion into your house. Mr. Speaker, sir, I request for 5 minutes for my colleague, Mr. Wanyama.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.